Okay, we're live. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On today's show, I have a very special guest, returning guest. This will be our 14th show. We've done so many shows on different subjects, Eyes Wide Shut, Rosemary's Baby, different topics. Today, we're going to talk about a film that came out in 2022. Title is Don't Worry, Darling. And it stars Pugh, Harry Styles, Olivia Wilde, and Chris Pine. And it came to my attention through Julia of the Cosmic Peach podcast, and she had mentioned it, and I was like, oh, it has mind control theme, so I wanted to watch it, and it kind of came out a little differently than I expected. I'd heard and remembered kind of there was a lot of drama behind the scenes as the film was made, and it wasn't considered to be expected to be that much of a box office hit. Apparently it made its money back, or doubled what the cost was, which was like $45 million. Made 90 million at the box office. But it is interesting. You kind of see what they're thinking. It's a newer, like I said, 2022 was when it came out. But it is interesting. And Sean has done a show on Get Out. Some people have said this film resembles Get Out. I haven't seen Get Out, so I wouldn't know. But I did a show on
Jordan
Levin. Yeah, Levin's The Stepford Wives is supposedly similar to this too, which I haven't seen in a long time. But I did a show about Levin's book with another guest, and that was about his dystopian book, which I can't remember the title right now. But so there's a little crossover.
Levin wrote Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, he wrote Rosemary's Baby too.
So there's more, and that was a feminist type idea of like to convince women not to get pregnant and to be, independent. The whole
This Perfect Day. I did This Perfect Day, which is another novel. So I've done a couple book about the film Rosemary's Baby, and then this other one, This Perfect Day, and that was with Dr. Modi Nisani. So people can check that out. But again, we're going to talk about this interesting film for a variety of reasons. May not be like the most successful, well-made film in my opinion, but I think it's worth talking about. So Sean McCann, welcome back to the show.
Hi, William. Thank you for having me. I'm always delighted to be here and as your guest. I'm a listener, and I like to think about, I'm always thinking about these type of topics, and that's why, I fit 14 episodes. Like, I'm always thinking about the same idea. We're on the same vein, like listening to the same ideas, and I'm delighted to be here sharing with you.
Interested in the same topics too. You've had Thomas Millery, who's been on my show. We just did 12 shows in a year.
And Brett Carollo as well.
Brett Carollo.
Yes.
So that's Psyops Cinema. So we're all kind of interested in the same stuff. What's going on in the films? What can you analyze?
Right.
What's the subtext?
What are they programming us with? What's the mind control that they're rolling out? Yeah.
Right. And this is it. So this is about mind control. She kind of has very curious statements, Orwellian. This place is called Victory. But maybe, do you want to just do about overview of the film? We're definitely going to
spoilers.
Spoiler alert. We're going to expose everything about it. So if you haven't seen it, go see it and then come back and listen to this, or pre-prepared, because we're going to go through the whole thing. Do you want to do a brief overview of what you took away?
So the Victory project you mentioned is kind of what this is about. There's this couple that we see in the photograph here. The man works for this Victory project, which seems like a secret military operation. So already right there, it's got some, Manhattan Project type overtones and undertones or whatnot. And so we're thinking, okay, this is government operation. This guy, he works for, the cult of power. And Victory has this city out in the desert, totally cut off from the rest of the world. And they're doing something. The movie never really tells us. Working and creating advanced materials or something, some silly idea. So we're not supposed to know what they're making, what they're doing. And the movie centers around the relationship between these two. And the wife is totally devoted, and she's happy with her position in life. Like it's set in the 50s or early 60s, idyllic little town created in this desert place, and everybody has a nice shiny car. Everybody's house is nice and clean. Everything is sunshine, beautiful all the time, swimming pools. And so they live in this ideal life of the 60s. And the movie shows us how the men work and the women clean. Uh, and this is the order. This is how life is in this place. So it's kind of bringing up the ideas of patriarchy and like women are subservient to males, and uh, but the woman is portrayed as happy, and uh, so the movie goes on, and we see there's this drama unfolds with one of the wives is unhappy and seems to go crazy, and then Florence Pugh, who's named Alice, uh, which is a reference to Wizard of Oz, or no, Alice in Wonderland, obviously Alice in Wonderland. So it's that right there is an MK Ultra dog whistle, basically.
Right.
And we'll talk about how this movie uses those. But anyway, so Alice, she witnesses this friend of hers go crazy, and then she starts to go crazy. And they try to control her with drugs and separating her from society, and um, basically keeping her down, keeping her in a box, and she's too powerful and she breaks free from. That's like how the movie is portrayed. And it basically turns out that this entire place is a simulation like the Matrix. And she is actually held captive, strapped down to the bed by her incel boyfriend. And incel is an involuntary celibate. It's like a new term that people like somebody who can't get a woman because he like doesn't wash enough. He's got long stringy hair. He's like at his computer all the time. Like, and these people that can't get laid end up becoming angry and they turn evil. Like that's what the movies are trying to portray for us. And this guy, he listens to podcasts all the time. He listens to this one guy who's portrayed by Chris Pine. And this guy is like he's like a Jordan Peterson, but he's also like a Jim Jones. He brings people to this secluded place and create a new community. Um, so like they're taking all of these archetypes and kind of mashing them into these characters. So Alice is like Alice in Eyes Wide Shut. She is a mind controlled multiple, or being portrayed as that. And she works for a military connected guy in the cult who works for secret military operations. And turns out she's really just a slave to some incel uh, who believes that men should dominate women and keep them captive, to bring them this idyllic lifestyle of the 60s. And so that's the future slavery of the the VR or the Neuralink or whatever they're going to do to people's brains is going to be the same slavery as we had in the 60s. Look, see, it's the domination from the men, and the women are just like slaves. So the
Sex
MK
slaves too, right? There's a lot of kind of like
yes,
he comes home from work, she's available,
right,
right? And later on in the film, she's not. She's a nurse, and so no, not
right,
tonight. I can't do it. I'm so tired. I got to be back in
exactly.
6 hours.
So like that shows that he has this sexual frustration because he can't even make it with his own girlfriend or whatever. And he can't work. He like got unemployed, and he's just sitting at his computer, and she's working extra hours to like pay for whatever. So like we get a little glimpse of the real life where she's got a cell phone and she's a surgeon and she's a powerful woman, like doing things and necessary. Everybody relies on her at the hospital. And but in this fake life, all she's responsible for is cooking and cleaning and being available sexually. And you know that's what the people who Olivia Wilde's idea of what the incels who listen to Jordan Peterson idolize, they fantasize, oh, if only I could get a woman like that to be my total slave. And so the idea of a total mind controlled slave is an MK Ultra idea. Like we all have learned, like it's in the zeitgeist. Everybody knows about Fritz Springmeier. Everybody knows about Kathy O'Brien. So this movie is taking these archetypes to get us interested, because like we look at this stuff. Like, I mean, Thomas and Brett's entire show is about looking at like psyops in the movies and like the MK Ultra memes that they use. So like it's like they got a deck of cards and they're using this card to like to win our attention and to get us looking. And then at the end, it turns out to be this nothing burger. You know, it almost angered me because like I'm investing my time and like, you know, looking at all the clues and following the story. And a lot of the clues go nowhere and they're just there. And and I think pretty deep about stuff. And I'm thinking maybe this movie was created just to trigger the multiples that are in the crowd watching. Because there are a lot of mind controlled slaves. It's not just MK Ultra. Different cults do it. It's a thing. Trauma based mind control. It does exist, and there are people
Go
in our
watch
society.
Scientology. You go through Scientology stuff. Those people are getting mind zapped. And you're right. We talked in the pre-show. It starts off with the rotating 45, right? Music. Their music is a very important thing. But
Yes.
that's a total piece of mind control. They try to destabilize people by putting on spinning wheels and stuff. So it's all the way through in the spinning women. So I think there's a really important kind of gender kind of analysis of this from a women's perspective and a men's perspective, what's going on in this film. But we also talked in the pre-show. You say Jordan Peterson. What came to my mind was this guy, Andrew Tate. That's kind of like the working man, blue collar Jordan Peterson, who talks a big game and I'm going to teach you how to get babes and women and get everything you want. And I've seen these pictures. I forgot what the name of his college, but these sad sacks who go and pay Andrew Tate this money to like learn these techniques, and it's just like, you poor guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that Andrew Tate, it was a created character to do the job that he's doing. Like this, like we were saying in the pre-show, like everything, like even reality is created as a show for us, you know. And this Andrew Tate does what he does for us to think what we think about him, and so that we create in our mind ideas. So like he's like if Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan were mashed together.
Yeah,
he's like the cool guy version of, and Jordan Peterson's for the intellectual or whatever.
Agreed.
It's kind of, and it you know, the cult will give us these people to rally behind. They gave us Q, you know, like they give us politicians and stuff. So like I think that the politics is waning. Nobody trusts them anymore. Now they're going to create this new world order, basically, this new system of control where people, you know, they take their mind control from suggestion rather than orders from a leader. And
well, if it's Neuralink or Meta or any of these guys, Zuckerberg or Musk, it might not be that much different than this, right?
Right.
Where they are living this fantasy life through this weird ocular lens, and they're being programmed with visuals. And it's like the Matrix, where this is their ideal life: drinking, sex, beautiful outback cars, all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, it seems it's silly if you think logically. Like if they're jacked into VR, how does a computer make them feel drunk? How can that work? And like and they take pharmaceuticals in this realm, like why? And if the computer can mimic being drunk without the person noticing a difference between that and real drunk, like then they don't even need to have a story. People can just jack in and like, I'm going to do my cocaine, and they put on their VR goggles and just sit. You know what I mean? Like that will be like the rats who just keep hitting the pedal for more heroin, you know, in the.
But it's weird. Like, how does she come to kind of a self-awareness within the virtual reality
Right.
too. Like, how is she controlled, but then knows something is going on? Like
Right.
she's so I don't
Well,
know what it is, but like she broke the programming. Like, hey,
right.
this is all baloney. And Chris Pine is over there, kind of maybe he's the ideal too, kind of like an Andrew Tate, like this handsome guy spouting, platitudes and axioms about why
Well,
we're moving in symmetry and songs in your mind and all
well,
this other stuff.
maybe she is the psyche of America. Maybe she is like the psyche of the people who are held under mind control through television and suggestion,
Right.
and they are dominated completely. And maybe like this is trying to capture the subconscious feeling that all of us are waking up from our mind control, and
Right.
but then they try to encapsulate that into like, oh, we're all waking up from the patriarchy and fight the
Right.
patriarchy instead of this. We're still mind controlled slaves. But and then so another thing is that it seems like she's waking up, right?
Right.
So that kind of seems to me like they are portraying an MK Ultra sex kitten who is regaining her memories. Maybe because she's getting flashes and she's coming undone, and all of a sudden this facade life seems weird, and like she's getting these other thoughts. So it seems to me like they are attracting to the movie theaters the MK Ultra survivors to re-trigger them
Interesting.
and to like get them back on board with it's a strange idea, and I really haven't thought that much about it. It's kind of coming to me as I'm
Well,
talking.
I think that it's like a common theme within females' lives. I think from the gender perspective, the Stepford wife, the perfect wife,
Right.
how you're supposed to fulfill this, what you're supposed to be for a man. I mean,
Yeah.
how independent really are you if you're fulfilling what these external ideals are upon yourself? Are you
Right.
living your best life? Her character in this film is pretty shallow. She doesn't really do much. She just cooks and cleans
Right.
and
She
is
doesn't
there
have
for
any
her.
thoughts of her own. She doesn't think about anything other than her husband or his work.
Right.
Yeah.
She's curious about her work. She has no career aspirations or anything. She sits
Right.
around with this other girl who smokes and they drink and they go into that kind of, that kind of
Right.
lifestyle. Like they're living kind of like a kept wife like
Right.
lifestyle. So I think
Right.
that's really it. So there's no issues in that. So I think that's the whole thing of Stepford Wives and why it's resonant and why they chose the 50s or 60s as the kind of motif, background motif in this. But also, I don't know if you noticed this, but there was a Sylvia Plath book that was left on the counter. The bell jar was there. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Sylvia Plath kind of had those. She was a poet, female poet, but she had a really terrible relationship with a man,
Huh.
and he was a total piece of garbage.
Like a narcissist or
Yeah, no, he was like
controlling,
harassing her,
dominating.
controlling, cheating,
Right.
and she eventually put her head in the oven and killed herself. And so
Jesus.
that's a brutal story, but it's really a 20th century story. And so I think that
Wow.
that's kind of the female, obviously, their perspective maybe about this film is like how much of this is really us getting mind controlled into these static roles as these model,
Right.
the perfect
Right.
wife model, the perfect wife archetype.
Right.
Oh, they're
And
always
it's all
wearing
an
nice
illusion.
dresses, right? Yeah.
Like it. I mean, we choose to subscribe to like we choose to participate with the illusion. Just like Cypher in the Matrix, he's like, I'd rather eat the steak than the gruel, and I choose. So like, by enticing them with this good life, and by they're giving America, like that's what the 50s was like. The Satanists were rewarding America with affordable housing, a good job, like everybody could live and go to college and all this, and have 3 kids for one paycheck, and like it was really a good time, and it was like given to us by the controllers after World War II. They created this illusion world where everybody has an electric kitchen, and like the wife wears pearls, and
There's new ovens and all this other
Right,
stuff, new gadgets.
right.
It's all 50s
Give
layouts,
me
and you can
convenience or give
drink.
me death. Right. Yeah. Like it's and that is the satanic trap too. Like, oh, just it's convenient and it feels good, and like, the whole Bernays thing of like making people buy with their feelings and emotions. All of that was a mind control situation veneer, and maybe that's what Olivia Wilde is trying to say. Like,
Right.
all of that was a mind controlled slavery situation, and this new metaverse is going to be that too, and we have to break
Right.
free from male control and whatever.
Yeah, you
So
imagine all these women being controlled by a freak like Zuckerberg, and then but another interesting thing is
he
within the
isn't
virtual
install that guy.
reality, within
Yeah.
the virtual reality, once she breaks her conditioning, they give her the electroshock treatments, right? So it's like you are resisting, you're gonna get taken away by the red men, and you're gonna get freaking zapped,
Right.
and
And
then you're
that's
gonna come back to normal. Oh, you just had a treatment. That's what the Olivia Wilde character
just like
says.
Harley Pasternak did to
Yeah,
Kanye,
yeah.
yay.
Oh, who else was he controlling?
Right.
There's that guy.
How many of them did he kill? Like,
Or
yeah. And
drive
he's
to.
just
I
one
mean,
of many. Just does a job. Like, that's how they do it all. So, and we know this, from all of this. It's in the cultural zeitgeist. It's in the soup of. So we know Britney Spears is an MK Ultra,
something's
slave,
happened to her. Yeah.
right? And we know that the big boobed girl that the Anna Nicole Smith was MK Ultra.
Was she? I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, there's video of her like acting as like
Oh,
a
freaking
6 year
out.
old
That's right. I
girl and
remember that.
stuff,
Yeah.
and like she's owned by
Dissociating.
that
Yeah.
90-something-year-old dude, and like her kid was in, like she was brought to ritual, and this dude, um, Friedrich von Anhalt, said that he impregnated her and he is the father of one of her babies, and apparently he is Hitler's child or some shit. And then so
He was some kind of royalty, right? Wasn't he some
yeah,
kind of
I think
Austro-Hungarian royalty?
yeah, but I don't know if he bought the title. Some families will sell their name for like others to act like they're royalty. So it's a whole convoluted thing. But in any case, like we know that like Marilyn Monroe was one of these women, and it's like probably Beyonce, like all these. Um, so we know that that's like a thing, and I think that they are using that as an archetype to tell this story. Like, I mean, it's like Hollywood can't stop talking about MK Ultra. It's like their favorite thing. Listen to Brett and Thomas. Brett's been doing the MK Ultra series where like
Oh, wow.
on their Patreon, it's like he's just choosing all these MK Ultra ones. He's doing right now. He's doing Return to Oz, which is it's all like there is an electroshock machine that is one of her friends that goes with her on the adventure.
Really? Wow.
You
I
got to
didn't
see
know
this
that.
movie, and
I
you
didn't
got to
know
listen
that.
to Brett talk about it. It's going to be great.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, it's next level. Like and the evil queen has like all these heads that she takes off a new one, puts it in the mirrored shelf, and like just like a multiple personality. So like
Wow.
these tropes have been in the movie, like it's been in the zeitgeist, and they've been feeding it to us in all these movies since the 80s, since 70s. It's like since before that, like I guess forever. I don't know. But it's like they're creating this new, maybe like as Thomas says, they're creating a new religion. Like I don't want to be talking about what they talk about, but still they do great work. And like I like what they're saying, and I think that the listeners should go listen to them say it. But it seems like they're trying to give us a whole new way. They're trying to give us the mirror world, the Satanism world of the new box to keep us all in, where before there was religion, and then they moved on from that to government, and now they're just creating this solipsistic, everybody is in their own little solipsism bubble, and if everybody ascribes to the same, or like if everybody is participating in the same fake illusion, then we can all have this same fake illusion together, and 2 plus 2 really can equal 5 if everybody believes it, right? So it's that is the ultimate of the New World Order control, and 1984 brings us there, tells us like, you'll be tortured until you actually believe it. They want to change your mind and how it works. And so that's what trauma does. Trauma is the biggest tool in the mind controller's handbook. So they're going to give us sex and violence on the TV and traumatize us,
Right. No, it's already, they're doing it in a public kind of mass formation of trauma, where if you don't agree with certain concepts, you will be tortured, you will lose your job, you'll be thrown out, you'll be kind of like excised from society. So if you don't agree with the trans, you are a transphobe and you have to lose your job.
Right.
If you don't agree to taking the vax, whatever they say,
Right.
it's really gene therapy. You're losing everything. That's trauma.
Right.
I better take that. I better comply.
Right.
And then just like this movie, if they don't comply, you get this electroshock. And then it's just, I mean, that's
Yes.
where our society is right now. If not, you're racist.
Right.
You have to have migratory. You don't like this migratory warfare of people coming in and robbing you and robberies and stuff. You're racist. You need to lose your job. In my town, I've lived in the same town for 20 years. We just in the last year had a string of like 6 to 10 robberies. Like literally people shooting. Like the breakdown of civil society is happening.
Right.
Like it used to not even happen here.
That's
like,
part of the plan.
So
Order
the New World Order plan. You're supposed to love your servitude and your slavery. So I think that may be like what this whole thing is, and that's the whole thing about meta. Like, hey, put this thing on, all the pain will go away, and you don't have to have any. You don't have to have you don't even have to have an income.
Right. Well, yeah, you can have your UBI, and then if you look at like the Spielberg movie, there, Ready Player One, the VR world is better than the real world. Like in the real world, it's just stacked up trailers in this dingy hellscape, and all of the movies except That Is Your Future, living in a hellscape. Every movie tells the future is, but you can put on the VR and go to a real place where you can have whatever you want.
Florence Pugh's character, she says they're lying about everything, and I was like, that's our society. They're lying about everything. Yeah. Nobody's telling the truth about anything. It's all a psyop. Right. It's all mind control. Like we've undergone, especially in the last 5 years, or at least like half my lifetime, if not all of it, just total mind control techniques, propaganda, psyops.
I can't believe it worked. I mean,
it's worked, a lot of it. Yeah,
a lot of people are not here anymore. A lot of people have passed away because they believed the liars, the deceivers. And if people don't wake up, we might lose humanity itself. Like it's getting dire. If people continue accepting the eugenics and the Gnostic, worldview of this place is a hell and we shouldn't have children and like we should fight the creator, like it's satanic, it's evil, and it's anti-human. And if we keep going along with it, we are deceived and we will be churned under. I say that term a lot, being churned under, like with the tilling of the soil. And, people are going to be reincarnated again, or in my view, I think they will be. But, people will be just recycled souls that are just going to feel this pain again and again until they wake the F up. And like, if we just continue to allow them and we continue to keep saying yes to their slavery, then we will no longer be mankind. We will be just slave,
We're already semi-slaves. I mean, I think it's a degree of enslavement. Yep. They haven't put chains around our neck yet, but you're chained to certain things by intent. The tax system, the inflation of the money.
Well, the mind control, like money and taxes, those are all just ideas that we agree with. And so we agree to go be a slave for the money to pay the government to like if we can break free from the illusions, then we could do what we want with our free will. Like you might be able to like, get the hotel and write a book if you want, instead of like having to do all these things. Like myself, like I wouldn't have to go to work and I could actually do something and create in my own life. And then I wouldn't be a slave anymore. I could create, I could plant plants, I could make things, I build a house, but instead I'm too busy, being a slave. Like it's
on the
dominance
wheel,
and control.
Wheel,
Yes.
It is interesting because this whole thing, like, it plays out like the Matrix. Like, Florence Pugh has a perfect American accent, and this
Right.
nitwit Styles breaks back and forth. Like, he starts out sounding like a Southern California beach guy, and then he goes back into some kind of hybrid of English and
Yeah,
American slangers. I'm like, what are you doing?
it's
But
terrible.
but in some ways, this is like she becomes self-conscious or self-aware, and he becomes the character out of the Matrix. He says, "We're lucky to be here. This is the optimal life." But she kind of, by will, kind of forces her way out of it. And at the very end of the thing, like, they show her gasping, right? She gasps
Like
for air
she's
as she
breathing,
come out of it. Yeah,
like she has the breath of life, right?
yeah.
And I
But
just
whatever.
noticed while you were talking, you're saying about how she broke free from the cage, and that's like the whole Gnostic idea of like breaking free from this realm that Satan rules or whatever. Um, only in theaters September 23rd. That 9/23.
Okay.
Like 23 is 23 skidoo, 23 to break free from the mind cage. 23 breaks free. Like Crowley wrote about that, and
So did
and
Burroughs. Yeah, the 23 Enigma, Robert Anton Wilson. Yeah,
see, right. So like that's and
probably not that.
September is 9. 9 is satanic number. Like 9 is the true satanic number. 666 equals 9. It's 18 and 8 and 1 is 9, right? So like
9 is the power number. It's the top of all
yes,
numbers before they start repeating, right? So
exactly.
it's
And
the
it's the
9
furthest
satanic.
away from the zero, the one, you know, like it's the furthest away from the oneness and the whole. It's the most divided. And, you know, and the Satanist there, the guy who wrote the Satanic Bible, Anton LaVey, like he writes in his books about how 9 represents ego because it always comes back to itself, like with mathematics and gematria. Like, so it's like it's a worship of self, you know. And it's so like that's the satanic number breaks free at 23. Like it's interesting how like how they chose the 23rd. And but anyway, go. I didn't
Well,
mean
I was
to,
going to
but
say
you were
also
saying
another.
about breaks free. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, in addition to their lie, she's saying they're lying about everything. The Chris Pine character is totally gaslighting. So
Right.
it's the same thing happening in our society now. You're not seeing this. Nobody's dying from the shot. There's no turbo cancer.
Right.
There's no. This is
Yeah.
fine. There's no subclinical myocarditis. We're just going to keep going on as normal. It's really kind of a scary subtext to this whole movie. Is that, like,
Right.
this is like our life right now?
Right.
I mean,
And like what, and his big goal, all that he ever talks about is to fight chaos. He wants order. And if you think about that,
it's total Jordan Peterson, right? Order
well,
Out Chaos.
yes,
Yeah, that was
well,
one of his books. Do you know that? Like
no,
a
I
12,
didn't.
12 rules of order against chaos or something. It's totally
Right.
Masonic.
So that is so right there, like that. It goes back to the mankind's innate fear of chaos. We fear chaos. It's just like we fear the dark. Some people fear spiders. It's like part of us to be afraid of chaos. We like repetition and order, and like it's so his entire thing is based on fear. The people, they put him on a pedestal because they're afraid of chaos. They do what he says because they're afraid of chaos, and they love to be told what to do because that is order. You know. And it shows like how much people are slaves, I guess. I don't know, but I mean, it's this magician, this like Jim Jones guy who seems like a CIA dude, just like Jim Jones
Right.
was,
Yep.
has them under his spell. uh and that's kind of what this feminist director is trying to say. Like, be afraid of Jordan Peterson, be afraid of podcasts, be afraid of people thinking for themselves, and because they're just going to go into this dark hole of incel chaos
Right.
where they're going to need somebody to pull a leader to make them break free, like to be ordered out of the chaos. And like, oh, then they need this leader to be
Order
strong.
Out KO. Yeah, Order Out KO. And that was the name of the thing that Psych Styles was looking at, was organized chaos. That's what his wife catches him
Right. The
listening
computer
to on
screen
the
said that. I've got a screenshot of it
yeah.
says organized chaos. And that's
So there's just a direct Peterson reference.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Incredible.
So this shows that Hollywood, or I mean maybe just Olivia Wilde, but the producers, also New Line Cinema or whatever, they are portraying Jordan Peterson as a mind control like
Mind
ruler,
control. Yeah, like a
right?
mind control utilizer. Did you
Right.
know that he went to McGill? He went to the same place. He went to the same place that you and Cameron did his whole gnarly
Right.
experiments.
Right.
That's where he got his doctorate, McGill.
Right. Right.
It's not believable. And some of those other guys came out of. It was Sam. What's the guy's name? Sam Harris came out of Jolly West's Neuropsychiatric Institute. Like
Charlie
you
West is
cannot freaking
everywhere.
make that up.
Yeah.
The truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
He came out of the same neuropsychiatric. It's changed. It's now like the Semmel Center. But watch that guy Harris. Like I've like keyed into what he does. No, but listen,
right.
he does really intense shit and stuff. He's doing like mind control techniques where he's like exacerbating things about Trump. Like Trump is like this. He doesn't really. I don't think he really believes that Trump is a cosmic comet come to destroy the Earth. But he wants to engender that idea to you.
Right. Right. Exactly. Like that way it creates such fear in you.
Yeah.
Like once, like, I mean, I do believe that Trump was put there to dissolve America into the Solve and Coagula. Like
Right. Yeah.
his job is to tear down America like the tower of the Trump, the 16th Trump card of the tarot is the tower. And Trump is known for having Trump Tower. And the January 2016, on the cover of every major newspaper is a burning tower, which is the 16th Trump card. And it was them signaling, yep, we're going to have Trump here to dissolve the world, to dissolve the old world order so that we can create the new world order. So they gave us one round of Trump, and I think they're going to give us another round to really kick us in the dirt and to like totally dissolve America all the way. So I think Trump is coming back. He's the once and future king. And it's be ready. America is going to the
be
wolves.
ready, guys. Yeah, they're not. The idea of America that used to propel it forward is gone.
Right.
The idea of like land of the free, home of the brave, all those ideas, they've totally changed the culture. So unless it comes back, we're sliding out. I think maybe the republic ended in 2020 and people just haven't keyed into it yet. Right. But this is an interesting for people.
9/11, and it took another 20 years for them to really crank it up this high. Go ahead.
It's an interesting picture of Harry Styles here with his tattoos. He's got
if you scroll down, I guess we can't see because of the I read that. But if you scroll down a little bit, we can see the tattoo on his belly. This dude, Ryan Styles, if everybody can see
Harry Styles,
right, whatever. He's got an MK Ultra symbol right there on his belly. And that
those are the doves, right? The doves are what fall from the sky, right? But in the occult, it's definitely
like there's a dove in the OTO symbol. Like the dove is
a layman.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, the dove
symbolizes sex magic,
sacrifice, and the purity of the dove, and it's the Holy Ghost, right? That too. But if any MK Ultra victim that is forced to fornicate with this gentleman is going to be looking at that symbol, and it will put her in a dissociative state. It's another form of it's like symbol magic, like sigil magic, I guess, but it causes certain altars. It like triggers certain altars like to come up and to be available for use by the controllers. So him having that is, in my opinion, is not innocent. I think that he intentionally has that to put on display on the cameras in front of everybody so that it triggers the altars in the audience, and for use in his own domination sexually of those altars to trigger them. It's sick.
And it kind of goes deeper because we were talking the pre-show. Apparently, the making of this film had a lot of stuff going on in the background. A lot. I think it wasn't like there was like a threesome. It was like a quadrisome or some kind of weird thing.
Well, yeah, everybody was cheating on everybody.
Yeah, everybody's cheating on everybody else.
Yeah,
a lot of relationships ended or something went on. But if you're watching this, take a look at this specific tattoo. I've seen it on other people. If you see anybody with this dove tattoo,
I'm talking about the butterfly on the belt.
Yeah,
but yeah,
send it to me.
Okay,
because there's other people out there with this.
Yeah, it's good to keep them on file and figure out who's got what. And there's a lot. Like, I mean, tattoos are a big thing. Like, it's
they have meaning, right? They
do have meaning. And you take your body with you. It's your vessel. It's not like a shirt you wear. You know, it's you're imprinting yourself. You're scarring yourself. So I think a lot of trauma is related to ritual, and I think that tattoos are a ritual, and they can be used. It's a little trauma, tiny little trauma. It hurts, you know, and it's changing the way your body is, and your body is now imprinted with that pain. I think there's a lot to it, and I think that's why they promote tattooing in our society so much. But I really didn't get to much of my notes at all. Like, I was going to talk about like the turntable spins at the very opening scene, and it's turning left, you know, it's Widdershins, and like that, the spinning is an MK Ultra thing, and then it cuts to Alice spinning, and she has a thing that looks like a record on her head. It's a circle that's black, and she spins left around the Widdershins. So it's like the very opening of the movie. It shows us like she is controlled spinning in this illusion world, but we're thinking it's MK Ultra because it's these triggers, these certain symbols. And then the guy is wearing a pinky ring, and they're all talking about, oh yeah, be in the club to have a pinky ring, and that's like gangsters and the CIA and like the cults of hierarchy, you know. And so it sets it up. And then there's I don't know if you want to share screen, but I have screenshots. I can put them on my desktop or whatever, and I can share my desktop. But I have while she's cleaning, she's like, there's mirrors around the bathtub.
Oh, right.
She has like that creates multiple Alices all cleaning together. So it's like they're showing us multiples. Here, I'll share this. Okay. Okay. So can you see that?
Yeah.
They're at her bathtub, and there's multiples. They're showing us that she is a split multiple. And so they're obviously using these ideas, and she's Alice in the Looking Glass, you know, that whole. So like, as if she's on the other side of the illusion world. And here, I might have some other pictures to bring, but am I still sharing it? I guess
it's on there. You just have to share another one.
I'll just share another one. So yeah, they're like the.
Oh, I just kicked you out. Oh, I just kicked him out accidentally. Let's see, Jolly says MPD, DID, a bunch of other mental disorders seem to be misconstrued with a lot of this stuff, and those uneducated about these behavior modification techniques seem to be getting lost in discussions. Seems social media has done way more harm than good in educating people in this regard. Far too many echo chambers of ignorant and stupid people out there beating their drums, in my humble opinion. Great analysis. Red pill rants. Thank you. I don't know. We're just kind of going through.
I'm here.
Sorry, I can't. No, I kicked you out.
Whoops.
I hit the wrong button.
That's all right. All right. I was like, oh, whoops. So okay. She's also portrayed in a box. She's like, there's a couple scenes with here she is, and it looks like a Barbie doll in the packaging, you know. And here, I'll find another one. She's also in a box here where she's cleaning, And here, I'll share another one. I wish this was easier. I don't like StreamYard sucks. But here she is cleaning the inside of her box. This is her little this is her tesseract that she's trapped inside of, you know. So there's really good photography. There's good cinematography. They used really good people who are doing good work, and they're showing these symbols, but they're not using them to go anywhere. Like they show, yes, she's kept in a box. Yep, she's like, so it's basically the whole. And then uh, this is what Jack, her real boyfriend, is this, in a dark hole, and he's got a poster of From Russia with Love, like James Bond. He wants to be British James Bond. Like that's already mind control from the dark occult. They gave us this guy with no morals. James Bond is a whole rabbit hole to go down. And it was created by CIA people, and so that's why he has the British accent. He chooses to have a British accent because he wants to be like James Bond. It's so ugh, it's kind of gross. But basically, this is him in his dark hole on his computer setup. So anybody watching this movie that's like a popular chick or whatever, and she sees this, she's like, oh yeah, that's just like my cousin Joey. Like, yeah, he can't even get a girl. Like and they see this and they recognize, oh yeah, this guy. And if you look at his screen, he's got the Vesica Pisces with an eye in the center. Like that's such an occult symbol. Like the eye in the Vesica Pisces is like what the actors do when they hold their eye up to their the 666 up over their eye in the photographs and stuff. So it's they're portraying this world as this is also this one. I wanted to bring this one up. This photo.
Okay, bring it on.
All right. This here is suicide programming. The multiple personality women, the program multiples with DID, a lot of them are programmed. If they start to remember, if they start to wake up from their programming, then they will kill themselves. It's like ingrained into them. So that's what this is a portrayal of. She's like doing her normal stuff, and all of a sudden she just starts killing herself. And then she wakes up from that, like, oh, what was that? Like, ugh. Because there's programming inside that tells her to. And her conscious mind isn't doing this. And so that's another what the MK Ultra slaves have to deal with. While if they start remembering, they have to be careful to not do this to themselves. A lot of them are told they're, and they to do it in many different ways. And this keeps them quiet, never lets the secrets out. A lot of the MK Ultra slaves have like a lifespan that at a certain age, they just kill themselves. Or if they start and their brain starts to, at like 28 or 30, their brains develop, they grow, and they start to reincorporate the multiples. Like they start to take all the different parts and make it a whole again. And these memories can show up at this time in their life. And when that happens, that programming inside them can make them just kill themselves. So I just wanted to show that is like there. So this is a exact portrayal of the MK Ultra slave. But in the end, they take all of those really deep ideas and really heavy subject, and they just turn it into a car chase. We're like, oh, break free from the bad boyfriend, and that's kind of the same thing that Florence Pugh in Midsommar. That was just a breakup movie. Like, oh, my boyfriend sucks. I'm gonna break up with him. Like that's what this movie is. It's another like, oh, my boyfriend sucks, he's a loser incel, I need to break free. you know where I can be the boss in my own hell, where I'm slave to a man at a
Right.
surgical
But
table all day. And like,
I think that that's the whole story, the female side of the story,
hmm,
or a lot of these stories that maybe men don't key into as much as like the woman wanting to get away from her lose her boyfriend or
right,
whatever husband is a common theme. Like whatever, how do I get
right,
rid of this guy? It's not good
right.
enough for me or whatever.
And if you look back at the, Kinsey and like the 60s and the whole like birth control and free love and all that, like it was really all about dividing people, making them cheat on each other, making them selfish, uh, nihilists who don't care, you know. Um, uh, Here we can.
Anybody have any questions? Just put it in the chat. Oh, and for people who've been on YouTube and haven't seen me, I'm almost up to 1,000 episodes on William Ramsey Investigates. So you can check
You
out my
got all
podcast
your
if you want.
shows back? They gave you your shows back? You didn't have to
Well,
start from scratch?
they gave me my whole channel back from 2 years ago,
And it
so
just showed up
I'm
like it
missing
was
a gap.
there? Like just like
No,
it
I
was?
I was talking to him, and I guess I think it might have been Missouri v. Biden. It may be the fact that the
Wow.
government isn't behind them. They got the stay. I don't know. I don't understand what happened with the stay. I know the stay happened, but I don't know if they came back. But
Right.
I know for a fact that the Biden. I mean, if you want to know how terrible your administration is, they actually, after the stay was granted, the injunction by Doherty, the government of the United States said, no, this injunction should stop because we want to censor some more. That's the Biden.
Yeah.
And then I just
Yeah.
saw some Rasmussen poll today that said that Biden has 42% of support. Like, who are these people?
Bullshit,
Like,
dude.
what are you watching?
Well, I also saw a poll where kids think people under 30 think it's a good idea to have cameras in their home that the
Oh,
government
that's so
watches to
insane.
like protect from uh,
Hey, some
violence in the home, like domestic violence. Like,
I know people who think it's okay to have Siri in their home. Think it's fun
yeah,
to
it's
have
same thing,
have
right?
them listen to you. Like they
Yeah,
willingly
right.
put Siri in their house.
And they think it's a good idea. Oh,
Yeah,
it'll help protect me.
they paid for it.
Right.
They
Yeah. And
freaking
that
paid for it.
Ring doorbell, all the cops can access all video in real time. It's like
Wow.
it's for all cops. It's a network of cameras working together like a panopticon to enslave us all. And we all think, oh, it'll protect me from some guy trying to break in. Yeah.
Do you know that your cell phone, if you have an Apple, it takes an infrared picture of you every 5 seconds
Are you
when you're
kidding?
staring at it? No, I'm
Wow.
not. It's
Oh, I
just
got a
totally take a
Samsung.
picture of you. Yeah.
Oh, I
Just
shouldn't have said
type it
that.
into
I was like,
Google.
no,
Yeah.
government is gonna come after me. But yeah, like I'm sure they got that's what it's for. Like it's a slave,
It's
it's
a
a leash.
slave. They're also
It's
enslavement
like
devices.
it's a
Everything's an
collar
enslavement
that
device. Yeah.
yes, yes.
And
And
that
it
ties into this film. It's
right,
really kind of using technology to enslave people and then gaslight and lie to them that you're not being enslaved.
right.
So, I mean, I
And
think that that's the thing, man.
like in the real life, this woman, Alice, is tied down to her to a bed with 4-point restraints with her eyes held open like Clockwork Orange like type, and she's just watching this, total slave, and he's dripping water in her mouth to keep her
Hydrated, right? Yeah.
hydrated, and she's like sweaty, and there's bad lighting. It's like it looks like a hellish,
It's really
really,
dark.
yeah. And if that's what you know, that's they're that's what they're saying the slavery of the patriarchy is for women, and they need to like they're held down in 4-point restraints, and they can't be a real when really women are free to do what they want and to create how they want. And like in the 50s were in the 60s were a great time for women they didn't have to go to work all day. They were like
How
nurtured.
free were they? Right. How free were they?
Right. Well, they were free to choose what man they love, and if they choose to they don't even have to get married. They could, there were plenty of women that like did what they wanted, and they could have a job. I mean, look at look at ancient Greece, like the Oracle of Delphi was a woman, like she was a powerful person, you know what I mean? Like all the kings went to her. And so like there really wasn't, there isn't really, it's an illusion that we're kept down. And it all kind of goes back to the Gnosticism of like Yaldabaoth or whatever, the creator god Yahweh, like supposedly created this realm as a hell to hold our souls captive in flesh. And we need to, like, that's kind of what, like a lot of, I mean, even, and Brett talks about this a lot on Psyops Cinema, about how Gnosticism is like a rolling theme. And even if you go back to Shakespeare, it's like this thing that they're trying to push on us, like to believe that this world is a hell and we need to fight the creator. And it's a way of satanifying everybody, you know, and it creates a nihilism. It creates a hatred for this world and a hatred for our creator. Being created itself is like, we're mad, you know. It's and in that schism, that way they can create an army against God, you know. And then if we all believe 2 + 2 is 5, then they can tell us men are women, and they can tell us that, you know, by chopping off our genitals, it's empowering ourselves. And
Right.
you know, like they, once we believe that snow is black, then they can do whatever they want with us, and we're total clay for them to mold their new world order, you know. It's
Very profound.
big ideas, right? Yeah.
Big ideas. Yeah. Where can people see your stuff, Sean? We're at the
Well,
hour.
I am. You can find Wake the Dead. Wake the Dead is my podcast, and I am a member of the One Great Work Network, and I have a page there. You can find me at onegreatworknetwork.com/Sean-McCann, and I post all the videos there, all the audio. You can find everything there, and I have a shirt store where I sell designs, do anarchy-based designs and fine art photography. And you can find that at storefrontier.com/wake the dead. And if anybody feels sorry, if anybody would like to donate, every little bit helps, and you can find the donate button on my One Great Work Network page. Please and thank you.
Yeah, send me all your links. Email me your links, and I'll stick them in the show notes.
I will.
And yeah, people check out his show, Wake the Dead. Again, it's Sean McCann. What did we say, 13th or 14th show? So I'm sure there's more on the horizon.
Yeah,
we've actually been on the
next one.
Yeah, we've been on the horn for 2 hours. We had an hour pre-show.
Yeah.
It's like one of my longest pre-shows ever.
Yeah, it's great.
Which
talking.
I really should just record. I should just do like.
Should record, and like if it's no good, cut it and whatever.
Yeah, that's
and if it's good,
idea.
like maybe there's a snippet. Sometimes I do that on my show.
Maybe somebody just wants to hear other people, you know, talking. It's like smack, like the
that
shop talk.
That would be a good show. Maybe one day we should all just like have you and me and Hans and like whoever would want to participate, just sit and talk and not like explain some idea, just like talk to each other like we would around a campfire, drinking beers. And like that would be good to hear, because a lot of people don't talk like us. A lot of people don't think like us, and maybe that would help clue people in onto new ways of thinking.
Well, if we did something like that, you just gave me the title "Campfire with Beers." That'd be
great. Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll get, instead of having this photo which resembles Eyes Wide Shut in the background, we'll have like a real campfire video in the background.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'll provide the photograph.
Perfect.
I got some good ones.
All right, Sean McCann, Wake the Dead. Again, the movie is Don't Worry, Darling. Cheers. Stay there.